Jai, Hare Krishna. So this week we're continuing the pastime of the Kaliya events and specifically the prayers of Kaliya's wives, the Nagapatnis. So let us dive into that and hear their wonderful prayers to Lord Krishna. This is December 2024, lessons 1 and 2, continuing chapter 16, subduing Kaliya. Samapriya, can you please pick someone to begin our readings?
Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see you. Acharya was just there. Acharya, would you like to begin?
He mentioned that his computer is doing an update and he's on his
Oh,
phone, so I don't think
oh,
I don't know if he's available. Maybe wait a little while to see if it
okay.
give him a
I'm
chance for
I'm
the
available, but it's not as good as reading on the computer. So if I could wait till
yeah.
a little later would be good.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, no problem. Mamantora, would you like to begin?
Let's see here. Okay. Sarata Darshini, text 31 to 32 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Kaliya's wives saw how the serpent had become so, let me just adjust my screen, I'm sorry. When Kaliya's wives saw how the serpent had become so fatigued from the excessive weight of Lord Krishna, who carries the entire universe in his abdomen, and how Kaliya's umbrella-like hoods had been shattered by the striking of Krishna's heels, they felt great distress. With their clothing, ornaments, and hair scattered in disarray, they then approached the eternal personality of Godhead. Their minds very much disturbed, those saintly ladies placed their children before them and then bowed down to the Lord of all creatures. Laying their bodies flat on the ground, they desired the liberation of their sinful husband and the shelter of the Supreme Lord, the giver of ultimate shelter. And thus they folded their hands in supplication and approached him. Visvanatha Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Previously, the wives had been disgusted with their husband because of his demoniac activities and were thinking, let this atheist be killed by the Lord. Then, as widows, we will fully engage in Krishna's service. But when Kaliya's wives saw the symptoms of sanchari bhav, such as humility, remorse, regret, doubt, and indifference to his suffering condition, manifest in their husband's facial expression and other bodily features, they thought, just see how fortunate we are. Our husband has now become a Vaishnav. Therefore, we must try to save him. Feeling affection for their repentant husband and being severely distressed because of Kaliya's miserable condition, the wives joined together and approached Krishna.
Okay, go on to the next one because that's the same, right, Pati? Oh, it's not the same. Okay.
No, no.
But okay, then we'll discuss this for a moment.
Just to explain to everybody, this week will be a little bit different because there was so much philosophy and it got so deep. And this is just a review. I kind of kept a little bit of them separate rather than going the exact same topics that Sarartha Darshini mentions and then Krishna book and then Sarartha Darshini and then Krishna book. It was just too much concepts and topics to go through. So it's a little more separated this week.
Okay. But one thing that I'd like to ask anyone, was anyone confused about the kind of species we're talking about here? These Nagapatnis they have hair and they are bringing their babies forward. And are we talking about snakes? What is this? Anyone have any inkling or idea of what this is? Nobody? Okay, I'll tell you. This is a species of life, and there is a planet for the Nagas. There is a planet for the Nagas. So we did a little research, and some of these Nagas are, they have a human body from the waist up and a very long serpent body. And they are very elevated living beings. it's very confusing because on this planet we think snakes are very sinful and envious, and so they come in three different forms: human form, complete human, complete snake, or a combination of the two. Part human on the top, part snake on the bottom. And this is a planet. And so my husband was talking about Seshanaga, the supreme personality of Godhead, who was holding up the universe. Anyway, there's a lot of interesting realizations when we see that there are many species that we have never heard of on this Earth planet. Really, we have very small scope of knowledge here. I thought that was very confusing and very interesting.
Is Seshanaga completely snake? Do you know?
Let's see. Unmute.
It doesn't appear so by the paintings that Srila Prabhupada approved. Yes.
Okay.
You see that he has a snake body, but that he, and also we read in the third canto, if you remember, how one time the Kumaras, the sons of Brahma, who are very powerful and yogic, not only did they travel to Vaikuntha and met and did the curse with Jai and Vijay, but once it's described that they went down to the bottom of the universe. And remember, they met Seshanaga and their hair was wet and they inquired from him there. And he spoke so much information to them in the third canto about the creation of the universe. So he has an upper body that is human-like, but the Lord reclines on the bed of his body, which is like a lap of snake material.
And he can can't he transform Shankarachan? He can't.
I would imagine so.
Well, let me ask a question then, especially since you're not going to go through the various books that we've been doing to date. In one of I think it's Sarti Darshani, the same chapter here that we're reading, that it says that the wives offer supplication. I just read it, and they bowed down flat. But Kalia wasn't able to lay down flat.
Right.
It was saying, maybe we'll get to it, but
and in pictures of him, he doesn't have a human-like features. He has thousands of hoods.
Right. So I was wondering why he wasn't able to lay down flat. I was thinking maybe since we brought up the different figures of the Nagapatnis, that maybe there was something about his form that he couldn't lay down flat. They said he was suffering. He was having, Thakur's commentary said that he was suffering from the beating that he was getting. But he basically just folded his hand in supplication, but he wasn't able to lay down flat. I don't know if it's a big deal even. I was just thinking from what Mataji was saying about the different forms.
Come to it. I think we'll come to that text. And then we'll see if it wasn't able to or didn't or and was he in the water? Was he in the water when he was at the end?
Yes.
Was he?
Yes, he's in the water.
So
actually, it's described there was an island. We'll get to that next week. Just to show you what some of the things we found when we did our little research. This is on Earth. See, this is in India. This is a truck. There's some people taking pictures. This is a multi-headed snake. You can't see him very good. But
3 heads.
Here's ones with 2 heads. Here's one with 1, 2, 3,
5
4,
heads.
5 heads.
That's the one with the truck. Oh God. Hare Krishna, look at this. I mean, there's a lot of species. Yeah, that's the one where the people are looking. Of course, this is in India, and there's a whole bunch of people looking there. Look at that, and they're taking pictures.
1,
and they're
2,
amazed.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7-headed snake. Oh, we've never seen anything like that in
India.
Florida.
Hare Krishna. All right. Well, I
also caught this just because it's nice to hear from different people when they read. Their emphasis is on different words and concepts. it was interesting to read this, that he became so fatigued from the excessive weight of Lord Krishna, who holds the entire universe in his abdomen. Well, no
Wow.
wonder he became fatigued.
Krishna, even a teeny little baby, could be very heavy.
I think Tisha has her hand raised.
Yeah, Tisha and then Acharya. Tisha? Hare Krishna, Tisha.
Hare Krishna. I just have a question.
Huh.
Are those Nagapatnis one of the 8,400,000 species on the
Yes,
earth?
they are.
okay.
The Nagas. They're the Nagas. There's a whole planet of Nagas. And Patni means wife. So Nagapatni means the wife of the serpent. Yeah. And it was amazing because the picture, when we see in the Krishna book, the pictures are kind of like the snake's mouth is open and there comes a
Yeah.
beautiful lady
Yeah.
with hair. And, kind of, you want to try
It
to
was actually
understand
described that their hair was disarrayed, their ornaments
The
were a little bit
jewels.
disheveled. Yeah.
So that really, how about you, Acharya? What do you think? Acharya
He's still on his phone. Yeah. Okay.
has his hand raised.
Maybe Ian also has his hand raised.
I'm sorry, I just
Okay.
had a sec. I'm on my phone, so it's a little awkward.
Okay.
I wanted to comment on the Nagapatnis saying, "Oh, just let him die, and we'll be widows and practice like that." First of all, it made me kind of laugh a little bit when I read it, and then it reminded me of Prabhupada's and Narada Muni's actually instructions about the different varnas and ashrams and the instructions about how women are to behave in the 7th canto. And I won't read the whole verse, but there's 7:11:28 says, Patim twapati tam bhajet, that a chaste wife should worship her husband who is not fallen. And in the purport, it is recommended, therefore, that a chaste wife not associate with a fallen husband. And he goes on to explain that about how that it is not that a chaste woman should be like a slave while her husband is Naradama, the lowest of men.
Wait a second. Okay, just before you continue. Srila Prabhupada's sister, Bhavatrini, her husband was a drunkard. And she remained chaste to her husband until he finally died. And because of her chastity and her devotion, he became a devotee at the end. And Prabhupada glorified her, actually.
Right. But still, that instruction in the 7th canto is there. And maybe not every woman is like Bhavatarini or needs to be like Bhavatarini. We also have to protect our own devotional service. But I thought it was interesting that the Nagapatnis are saying that also until they saw that their husband had manifested the symptoms of bhava.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that you can't make a standing rule. There are general applications, but because we know that chastity for a woman is her wealth, so we want to encourage that. But of course, if somebody is fallen and you're not able to maintain your own Krishna consciousness, then you have to save yourself first.
Right, and that seems to be the principle Narada Muni says. He says a chaste woman should not serve a husband who's fallen. So anyway, everything takes practical application. But I just thought that it lined up with the Nagapatni's behavior in a interesting way. That's it.
Nice connection.
Ian,
It does say that they were saying, "Let this rascal be killed." Yes,
Okay,
Ian.
I prefer the devotees. How is the sound today?
What?
How is the sound? How is it sounding today? Is it any better?
Oh,
It
it's
sounds-
better.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay.
Except I hear my echo in it, but see,
Yeah.
the echo is still there. So you have to turn it off when someone else speaks, I guess. That
Yeah,
was
you
the
just turned
problem.
off.
Shwanata Chakrati.
Okay, what's going on?
Ian, did you have more to say?
No, just thought I would check in first before I Yeah, I thought about the I just quickly thought about the sort of the form of the Nagapatnis. I was saying that they were snakes and they were half human, half snakes, and they were sort of voting for Kalia's in other words all the prayers that whole chapter was saying that how, as I said previously, when devotees are in the presence of Lord Krishna, they can have wonderful prayers that they offer. So I would just sort of struck up by that. For the time being, I was saying that in terms of their construction and the type of prayers they were offering, considering that they were snakes. That was my bit at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Confusing a little. All right. Thank you.
Harry.
All right. So, shall we go on? Do you have your hand up now, Mamataji?
Just
No.
one last before we go on. I think the Nagapatnis, when they said, let us just leave their husband or whatever it was that they just said. When I read it before, it wasn't like it was a mood of, frustration. I don't think it was said in a mood of like a curse, you know what I mean? It was more of a, they're upset with this behavior, you know what I mean? It happens a lot with kids, parents and kids. You just get frustrated with a certain mood and,
Right.
you say things like that, but it's not like a curse, it's just, that was the mood in which I interpreted it when I was reading
Right.
it.
Yeah. It was an interesting statement. There's no doubt about it. But because they're very chaste and they would think it would be better that he wasn't there. Not that they would leave him, but that he would die. So there's a difference actually in that. It's an interesting point, but we want to discuss it further right now. Let's just go on. Okay, Acharya, are you ready to read? Or I don't know your situation with the computer.
I can if my sound is okay.
It's perfect.
Okay. Just give me a second. The screen's a little bit small for me. Okay. Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 16, text 33 through 35. The Nagapatnis began to offer their prayers as follows, quote, "O dear Lord, you are equal to everyone. For you, there is no distinction between your sons, friends, and enemies. Therefore, the punishment which you have so kindly offered to Kaliya is exactly befitting. O Lord, you have descended especially for the purpose of annihilating all kinds of disturbing elements within the world. And because you are the absolute truth, there is no difference between your mercy and punishment. We think, therefore, that this apparent punishment to Kaliya is actually some benediction. We consider that your punishment is your great mercy upon us, because when you punish someone, it is to be understood that the reactions of his sinful activities are eradicated. It is already clear that this creature, appearing in the body of a serpent, must have been overburdened with all kinds of sins. Otherwise, how could he have the body of a serpent? Your dancing on his hoods reduces all the sinful results of actions, because by having this body of a serpent, it is therefore very auspicious that you have become angry and have punished him in this way. We are very astonished to see how you have become so pleased with this serpent, who evidently performed various religious activities in his past lives. Everyone must have been pleased by his undergoing all kinds of penances and austerities, and he must have executed universal welfare activities for all living creatures."
All right, go on to the next one.
10:16:35 Sarartha Darshini, quote, "Did our husband carefully perform austerities in a previous life with his mind freed of pride and full of respect for others? Is that why you were pleased with him? Or did he in some previous existence carefully execute religious duties with compassion for all living beings? And is that why you, the life of all living beings, are now satisfied with him. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In some previous life, Kalia executed religious duties with compassion for all living entities, and thus he is a Vaishnava. Mercy towards all living entities is not seen in the heart of a fruitive worker. Because of Kalia's tapas, penance, and dharma, religious duties, he has received the affection of the Lord in the form of holding the Lord's lotus feet on his head. If a person respects all living entities and treats them with compassion, then the Supreme Lord, who is the shelter of all entities, becomes satisfied. That is the meaning of this verse.
Okay, so tell us something about these qualifications that make one eligible to be a devotee and worship the Lord and get the mercy of the Lord.
Yeah, this is really interesting, actually. Of course, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and in Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada explains that generally, if someone comes to devotional service, it means in the past life they had some contact with devotional service, knowing or unknowing. Or occasionally it could just be by the raw mercy of a devotee, but that's the general procedure. So I like how the Nagapatnis are saying, this person is so sinful, but he got such mercy, he must have done something in his past life. And I also really like that the tapasya and penance that they surmised that he performed was that he was merciful to all other living entities. So I thought that was also really sweet also, because generally mundane, penance and austerities doesn't necessarily qualify one for devotional service. But this idea of being merciful to all living entities is such a essential Vaishnava quality that they're taking it, that qualified him. So I thought that was really nice to hear.
Very nice point. That's really stands out. It's another place that we're going to read in a little bit how when you see this manifest, and Krishna is also merciful because he's able to forgive because of his peaceful nature. That's a whole other thing, the quality of Krishna, and that's what one in order to forgive.
And the devotees naturally emulate Krishna's qualities in that respect.
That would be good.
Being peaceful, what's that? The symptoms of bhava. The first one is kshanti, being tolerant and being forgiving.
Right. Good. Beautiful. Anyone have anything else to say? Pati, would you like to add to this?
When I read prayers like that and connects things with past lives, it also inspires us to act properly and understand that we're enjoying or creating suffering in our future by our present activities. It's not that things go unseen or unreactive. In other words, we can be inspired, just like not only Nectar of Devotion and what was the other one? Srimad Bhagavatam, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives the same example. The unsuccessful yogi takes birth in the heavenly planets, and then again comes back down when his pious activities are exhausted. So in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first question the sages of Naimisharanya asked was, the Vedas are filled with all kinds of rules, regulations, ritualistic ceremonies, yagyas. What is in easy to understand language, what is the topmost activity that one can perform? What is most beneficial? Ekantata pumsam ekantata shreyas. What is the ultimate benefit? Anybody remember the answer to that question? What is the ultimate benefit for all living entities? What can they do?
I don't know.
Somebody raised their hand. Acharya. And
Faye.
Faye. And
Is
Faye?
it Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo? Is
Yes,
that
it is. Yeah.
Exactly, it is.
Yato Bhaktir at Hoksajay?
That one right there. What was that second line?
Yato Bhaktir at Hoksajay.
Do you know the meaning of that? If you took just those 3 words, what does it mean?
Devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is inconceivable to the material senses.
Yeah,
Is
who's
the rough
transcendental.
idea.
Adhoksija means transcendental. So yato bhaktir adhoksije, the ultimate benefit that anyone can perform is to engage in devotional service, bhakti, to the transcendent Lord, it's translated. Very good.
Yeah,
So-
and that bhakti with a certain quality, being materially, what is it?
Unmotivated and uninterrupted.
No material motivation and uninterrupted.
Yeah, haitukiya patihata. And then what happens? Yenatma supersediti. The Atma becomes satisfied.
Jai.
So we're engaged in the most sublime, the best investment. Everybody in the world is investing in something, and they've got all kinds of charts and computer programs, and everybody can invest in whatever they want to invest in, looking for a good return and the most interest. So ultimately, if the soul can be satisfied only by this activity, and it begins with
Devotional service.
which begins with what's the first activity?
Hearing.
Hearing.
Good.
Hearing,
Shravanam,
chanting,
Kirtanam.
remembering. Yes.
Good. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Three big ones. Actually, I was just reading the Prema Varta that Shravanam and Kirtanam are part of Smaranam, because when you're hearing and chanting, you're remembering Krishna.
Hmm.
Very nice. Okay, let's have, is that it for this verse? Let's move on. And Tisha, would you like to read for us?
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry I had my audio on. I didn't realize. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36, Sarata Darshani. O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya has attained this great opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Actually, the mercy given to Kaliya was not a result of his tapas or dharma. It was just Krishna's inconceivable, causeless mercy. This is expressed in 3 verses. The Nagapatnis prayed, "We cannot understand what type of pious activity the most sinful Kaliya performed to get this result. What result? It is very difficult to attain even a particle of dust at Krishna's lotus feet by any type of pious activity, such as austerity. It is even rarer to get the touch of Krishna's feet, what to speak of having them dance on one's head. Even the goddess of fortune, who is your intimate consort in your form as Narayan and much greater devotee than Brahma, could not fulfill her desire to touch your feet in your form as a cowherd boy, even after performing severe austerities."
So if Krishna and Narayan are non-different, why the emphasis here that the goddess of fortune can't touch his feet? We see pictures, so many pictures of the goddess of fortune massaging the Lord's feet.
Oh, that's a real Rasika question.
Yes.
Oh, Krishna.
And
Anyone know?
the idea that the hint is right here, Tisha.
I don't think I have the answer. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anybody else? Chatimai.
Haribol, they're different forms.
And what is this form as a cowherd boy? Why
Form
couldn't the
cowherd
goddess?
has all 64 qualities. Narayan does not have all the qualities that Krishna as Shamasundar has. So it's a different,
I am Bhagavan.
it's a more full manifestation. It has all 64 qualities.
The original Swayam Bhagavan.
I am Bhagawan.
Yeah. The source of
What are
all.
some of the qualities that Krishna has that Narayan doesn't have?
He plays the flute. He has amazing pastimes. his beauty attracts all. And is it his entourage? He has friends.
His loving friends, the
Love-
love that his friends have for him and associates have for him. None of the other forms of the Lord have those intimate associates. That's why we're encouraged to hear about the Brij Basis. The Brij Basis, Madhya Soda, Nanda Maharaj, Narayan. Even when he advents, his parents don't have quite such loving intimacy as Madhya Soda. Nobody ties up. No mother ties up Lord Narayan.
Haribol, so this all comes under the category of Madhurya Ras, whereas Narayan is usually approached in a mood of Aishwarya.
Does that make it clear, Tisha? Is that understood now?
Yeah, that's so amazing. I never thought of anything. I would have never known anything like that. But thank you for knowing those, Chaita. That's amazing to me, the different qualities of Krishna.
You're very kind, Tisha. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's something so special about us having a relationship with the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was a cowherd boy. That means he's easily approachable, especially in this age. And why is he easily approachable in this age, Tisha?
Or how? What can you do
Okay,
to approach him?
how?
Because we have to chant the Maha Mantra.
That's it. That if nothing else, just let's chant our way back to Godhead. It's 3 words.
It's the Yuga Dharma.
It's the Yuga Dharma. Good girl. I often think that if it was 4 words, Srila Prabhupada would not have, it's only 3 words. We have no excuse. Hare Krishna. All right, why don't you go on reading the next verse? The next page there. There you go.
Okay. Krishna book 10, 16, 36 through 38. Oh, dear Lord, we are simply astonished to see that he is so fortunate as to have the dust of your lotus feet on his head. This is a fortune sought after by great saintly persons. Even the goddess of fortune underwent severe austerities just to have the blessing of the dust of your lotus feet. So how is it that Kaliya is so easily getting the dust on his head? We have heard from authoritative sources that those who are blessed with the dust of your lotus feet do not care even for the highest post within the universe, namely the post of Lord Brahma, or the kingship of heavenly planets, or the sovereignty of this planet. Nor do such persons desire to rule the planets above this earth, such as Siddhaloka, nor do they aspire for the mystic powers achieved by the yoga process, nor do the pure devotees aspire for liberation by becoming one with you. My Lord, although he is born in a species of life which is fostered by the most abominable modes of material nature, accompanied with the quality of anger, this king of the serpents has achieved something very, very rare. Living entities who are wandering within this universe and getting different species of life can very easily achieve the greatest benediction only by your mercy. It is also confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the living entities are wandering within the universe in various species of life, but by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master, they can get the seed of devotional service, and thus their path of liberation can be cleared.
Okay, before we move and leave the text up here, there's a lot of reference to mercy. What is mercy? How could that be defined? The mercy of the Lord, the only thing a living entity needs is the mercy of the Lord, the mercy of the pure devotee. What is that mercy? What is mercy?
I mean, I always just remember Draupadi. Krishna doesn't go to her to provide the cloth or whatever until she completely surrenders. And then once she just completely surrenders, Krishna is right there protecting her. So I guess for me, mercy is when you have the ability to surrender, then Krishna responds.
Wow, very good. through his kindness. Through his kindness. Mercy would be something that someone who is kind would manifest to help someone, isn't it? But and your explanation is perfect, because in order to receive the mercy of the Lord, one first has to completely surrender to him. That means having faith in him.
If that were true, then I would posit and question how, just as the Kaliya's wives are doing, what did he do? He didn't surrender. When Krishna started kicking on his head, he was an unsurrendered soul.
Right. But that in battle, in war, also there's a war, and then the other side who's being defeated raises
Yes,
the white flag.
then there's mercy.
So, yeah, well,
But the question arises here that he was unsurrendered. So my mind went to mercy, especially of the Lord. That's why they call Lord Chaitanya Namo Mahavadanaya, Krishna Prema Padayate. He's the most merciful avatar. Mahavadanaya. Vadanaya means merciful. Mahavadanaya. Krishna Prema. He's giving Krishna Prema. He's offering it even to unqualified people. That's mercy.
So it's not dependent upon our surrender?
Thereafter it will be. Certainly it is. Yayathamam prapadyante. Certainly
Yes.
the living entity has. But the opportunity is merciful. It looks like Acharya has something, or was that just a thumbs up? Okay, great.
So was he getting the mercy because of some good qualities, because of what he did and what we read before, what he did in his past life, that he had developed good karma? I mean, or was the mercy just for no reason at all?
No, there's almost always some back story. And I think Ian told that story last week about the yogi that was, he was a yogi in his past life. And another yogi came to the place where he was performing his yoga. He was doing tapas in the forest. And that other yogi saw that he actually got very angry with him and told him, "This is my spot. I picked it. I'm doing my yoga here. You're disturbing my
can you
program
imagine
here.
that?
You should leave." And he tried to kick him out. The guy said, "You're so angry. You should become a snake in your next life."
Even the great yogis are fighting with each other. Then what is the hope for us? Lord Chaitanya's mercy. That's the hope.
Right.
Lord Chaitanya.
Acharya?
Actually, even if you don't know the past history of the demons, if you just guess and say there was some sage who offended another sage, 90% of the time you'll be right that's what
Are you speculating? Just asking. That is speculation.
Yeah, of course I am. I always do.
Okay.
Just so I understand, so you don't get mercy unsolicited, maybe not unsolicited, but there's mercy just doesn't shower upon you for no reason. Is that true? Or
Well, then Lord Chaitanya has come to give this mercy to all living beings, the prime benediction for humanity at large. So it's
but you
up
have to
you.
kind of be looking for it, or you
have to take it, right? It's just like someone Prabhupada gives this example, you're being thrown a life, what's those life circle things? Life preserver. I mean, if you don't grab hold of it, whose fault is that? I mean, so just like the 2 inches, or the Mother Yasoda and Krishna. It is a two-way street. The living entity has to be willing to surrender. So surrender is part of it. The mercy might be there, but you have to take it.
The example is also given that the sun shines on everyone equally, but some take advantage of that. They go out in the sunshine, or they, solar panels, or they use the sun for purposes of advancement and development, whereas others don't. If you stay inside, it's still shining. Acharya?
Yeah, no one knows what their past life is, I guess, except for Krishna and Yamaraj. or what your past life is or any other person's past life is. So on an individual basis, you can't say, but the way that Srila Prabhupada broadly and widely distributed mercy, and Mahaprabhu also, so broadly without any consideration of who is qualified, who is not qualified, that to take advantage of it, eventually some quality has to be there, but the distribution of the mercy
That's two different
is
things.
without consideration.
Right. It's two different things, really. It's raining. You can either have an umbrella or you can, get wet.
Yeah.
You have to take advantage
Right.
of the
So
mercy.
the clouds are merciful, but how we take it is
It's
ultimately.
merciful.
it's actually described in the Nectar of Devotion also, that if one is initially interested, in other words, why, if that mercy is being unlimitedly and equally distributed, why do some appreciate it, take advantage of it, become interested in it, dedicate their lives to it, whereas others don't? And the reason is past pious activities, past sukriti, past spiritual practices. Therefore, the soul is more awakened and interested in these topics and naturally becomes attracted. That's also in the Bhagavad Gita. In the next life, he'll become attracted to the principles of yoga because of his previous actions. Ian?
Okay, so quickly, one of the things that got me interested was one of the first book I got was The Perfection of Yoga. And I think the only thing I can remember is that when a yogi falls down, then he could be born in a family of brahmanas or in a rich family so that he could continue his devotional service. So that got me. You just said that a while ago, those 2 points, when that he could be born in a devotional family or a rich family. And also in terms of what just transpired, the number of things that you didn't want the post of Brahman or heaven, king of heaven, or emerging, So I'm saying that all those things that people do not want, they mention it. So quite a number of things. As you're saying, post of Brahman is high post, post of Indra is a high post, and merging, some Siddha Loka, a number of places that people don't want to go. So I'm really interested that the person who on devotion service will not want to aspire for those things.
Right.
Good point.
That's my little bit. Allocation.
And also, right, when you see someone's engaged in devotional service very spontaneously or dedicates their life to it for so long, it is you can see that they have done this in their past life. So many times Prabhupada has said that. This is not a whimsical thing. Krishna's kind. He lets us continue. Okay. All right, let's go on. Thank you, Tisha. And Ian, would you like to read?
Okay. Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 16, 39 to 41. The Nagapatnis continued. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto you, O dear Lord, because you are the supreme person. You are living as a super soul within every living entity. Although you are transcendental to the cosmic manifestation, everything is resting in you. You are the personified, indefatigable,
Yes.
eternal time.
Yeah.
The entire time forces exist in you, and you are therefore the seer and the embodiment of total time in the shape of past, present, and future, month, day, hour, moment, everything. In other words, oh Lord, you can see perfectly all the activities happening in every moment, in every hour, in every day, in every year, past, present, and future. You are yourself the universal form, and yet you are different from this universe. You are simultaneous one and different from the universe. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto you. You are yourself the whole universe, and yet you are the creator of the whole universe. You are the superintendent and maintainer of this whole universe, and you are its original cause. Wow.
Wow. So, okay, what do you think? Krishna is seeing everything at every moment.
Yeah, Krishna is everything, and is represented by the time factor, and is also within and without. So that's my bit.
You cannot get away. You can't try to hide something from Krishna.
Yeah.
He sees everything. Oh my God. Okay, that's pretty intense. Anyone else have something to say about even the contemplating the notion of hiding something from Krishna, who is in charge of every second and sees everything in relation to everyone? That's kind of far out. I mean, who are we talking about here? And we want to have a relationship with him. Suddenly, things like this have been making me feel, I don't know how it's happening, folks, but very insignificant and humble. That's reality. It's reality to feel insignificant. And when you read things like this, Chaita?
Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. I was just thinking this whole section where the Nagapatnis are speaking and revealing their knowledge, I couldn't think of a comment for it because this is foundational tattva that we're reading, and we're getting this, how do you say, it's a refresher course. The Nagapatnis are giving us a refresher course on just who we are speaking of and who we are in the presence of. And it's just good to hear it over and over again because my mind is constantly forgetting.
Yeah.
Thank
Really
you.
something. Thank you. Very good. Ian, can you say something else about this? Krishna's everything. He sees everything that we do.
What did you say?
Krishna is everything. He sees everything that we do. What do you think about that? How does that make you feel?
Well, I have to be myself, because every thought, word, and deed, I have to be myself. I have to be conscious of what I'm thinking, saying, or doing. Yes, because the
Good.
Lord is the super soul, is everywhere, within every living entity. So I have to be careful of what I'm thinking, saying, or doing. And in other words, if whatever happens as a result of actions, sort of action, I have to be aware the Lord knows everything. So it's not that I can say, okay, nobody's seeing or hearing. And also, for example, when there is I know we are aware of those book of records. I think like Chitta Gupta, a devotee that records everything that one says or do. So when one is brought up, one can say, I don't remember, I didn't do it. Every so you have to be mindful of what you think, say, and do. Yes.
Wow. We have to, at every moment, behave properly because, after all, we're in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at every second. So that would make us be a little bit humble and respectful. That's wonderful. Thank you. All right. How about Faye? Would you like to read? Oh, before you read, Faye, I think everybody, we just got to notice that Faye is going to have a very serious operation next week on Wednesday. Is that when you said? No, which?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay. So I think that because she's such a sweet soul and we appreciate her association, let's all pray together.
Just like the Nagapatnis prayed for their husband?
Yeah. We're in prayer now. We're totally absorbed in prayer. Let's all pray for the welfare of Faye, and that the operation goes successfully, and will help her so that she continue her Krishna consciousness with great enthusiasm. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's beautiful. Thank you. So now, Faye, would you like to read? Can you read?
I'll try, Mataji. It's all again. Saratha Darsini, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16, 42 through 43. Obeisances unto you, who are the ultimate soul of the physical elements, of the subtle basis of perception, of the senses, of the vital air of life, of the mind, intelligence, and consciousness. By your arrangement, the infinitesimal spirit souls falsely identify with the three modes of material nature, and their perception of their own true self thus becomes clouded. We offer our obeisances unto you, the unlimited Supreme Lord, the supremely subtle one, the omniscient personality of Godhead, who are always fixed in unchanging transcendence, who sanction the opposing views of different philosophies, and who are the power upholding expressed ideas and the words that express them. The Nagapatnis prayed, "What is the conclusion of all this? We cannot find the end to you, Ananta, because you are difficult to understand." Krishna replies, "But intelligent men say that the living entity is different from me and that I cover the living entities. Therefore, how can you say that I am non-different from them?" The Nagapatnis answer, "You are Kutastha." The dictionary says Kutastha means he who pervades all three phases of time. Thus you remain in one form for all time, whereas the living entities take various forms for short periods of time. These forms are not their Swarup, eternal spiritual form. Therefore, you cannot be the same Jiva. Therefore, you cannot be the same as the Jiva. You know everything, but the Jivas know very little.
Oh boy. So there's 2 points that I noticed here. Is for all time. Krishna's the same for all time. You want to explain that a little bit? That he's the same for all time, but the Jivas are not the same for all time.
Sanatana, eternal. Krishna is eternal because he was here before eternity began. Krishna is eternity because he is wherever eternity is going. He is without end. We, being tiny parts and parcels of him, as little particles, we have that eternal quality, but yet in such a tiny, tiny way, we're covered up by these material bodies here that cause lots and lots of problems.
Right.
These little eternal souls, little jivas, little atmas, here we are wearing these material forms over and over and over. Those forms
Different
are
forms.
not the same as Krishna because Krishna is transcendental. He has no material form. He is not contaminated by material form. He is pure. He is there always. Everyone in our classroom right now is wearing a material body. We are here because we need to be here. We need to be learning something. And we all aspire to go back home to where we came from.
Okay,
Krishna is eternal.
Okay, so we are the difference between Krishna and the living entity is that Krishna never changes his form.
He's unchanging, yet he can do anything, everything at the same time.
Yes, he
And
can.
all I can manage is one thing at a time, sitting in a chair. That's all I'm managing at the moment. It's sitting in a chair. The aspirations of the material body, whether in the mood of goodness or passion or ignorance, we're here, guys. We want out. We want out where? We crave, we hope for that eternal link,
Right.
that
Okay.
end point.
Right. We are not these bodies.
No.
We're not the body, and Krishna is the body. Krishna
Correct.
is his body. So, and we are not. We have so many different bodies we've had, right? But
We have no
not-
memory.
We have no memory of that.
No memory of
That's
those. Maybe
okay.
it's a good thing. Maybe it's
Yeah.
a good thing we don't
It's a-
remember what we did.
That's probably true. It'd be really hard to remember all that stuff.
Oh,
Looks
we
like
Okay.
looks like Acharya had a
Yeah,
comment.
Acharyaji. Thank you, Faye.
Yeah, I was just noticing that since we also just a little while ago finished the Lord Brahma Vimohan pastime, that this same philosophy that Krishna is existing in all three phases of time, that Brahma said that, and then Brahma learned that in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, that Aham Evasyam Eva Agre, that Krishna exists before the creation and after the creation and during the creation. So it's the same philosophy, but being presented by different persons and in different ways in different contexts to really, I guess, to beat it into my head so I understand it.
You know, a simple thing. Truth is truth. Truth is truth, no matter who it happens to, no matter who realizes it. Truth is truth. So, and when we hear these stories from the Bhagavatam, these actual realities, this is to help us understand how truth is not changing. It doesn't change because it's not modern. It doesn't change according to modern day. Prabhupada talks about that a lot. The truth is truth. Very good.
There's a verse, a portion of that too, Mataji, that goes back. It says that this is all fitted together. All of these pastimes, everything is resting like the pearls on the thread
Mhm.
that I
Bhagavad
mentioned.
Gita.
This is all strung together. We don't happen to know where we are in the particular string in time, but that without Krishna, there is no string. There is no continuity. Krishna is the string. He is the eternal. Therefore, we're aspiring to hold on to the dust of his lotus feet. However, we can come by it. The Nagapatnis may have speculated, oh, our husband may have done this or our husband may have done that. But Krishna's the source of all remembrance and what we forget. So how did they really know? They just knew that somehow their husband got his mercy at that point in time. It's remarkable. He got danced on top of the head. He got the
Very good.
mercy that he didn't deserve, but he got it. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, it is very amazing. It is very amazing. That's what happens when you get someone qualified praying for you. His wives were qualified and they prayed for him. So that added to his great good fortune. Okay, let's go on now. Is Neil interested to read right now, or?
Mataji, thank you. He is interested. However, he is in another meeting with one of the doctors right now on the phone.
Okay, we'll come back to him then. Thank you. How about Chaitya? Do you want to read?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Mm.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-44, Saracha Darshini. We offer our obeisances again and again to you, who are the basis of all authoritative evidence, who are the author and ultimate source of the revealed scriptures, and who have manifested yourself in those Vedic literatures, encouraging sense gratification as well as in those encouraging renunciation of the material world. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The Nagapatnis prayed, we pay respects to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the basis of all authoritative evidence and the topmost scriptural proof, and to Veda Vyas, its compiler. You are personally present in the revealed scriptures. We pay respects to you who are the source of the revealed scriptures. The same phase is seen in the Vedanta Sutra. We offer obeisances unto the scriptures, which, although propounding dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, can be grouped into two categories: pravriti, sense gratification, and nivritti, renunciation. We offer respects unto you who are the origin of both.
Okay, do you want to read the next one? Because it's the same,
Okay.
it's from the Krishna book.
Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-44. Different varieties of philosophical speculators try to reach you. You are the ultimate goal of all philosophical efforts. And you are actually described by all philosophies and by different kinds of doctrines. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the origin of all scripture and the source of knowledge. You are the root of all evidences, and you are the supreme person who can bestow upon us this supreme knowledge. You are the cause of all kinds of desires, and you are the cause of all kinds of satisfaction. You are the Vedas personified. Therefore, we offer you our respectful obeisances.
Oh boy. Okay, so Krishna is the basis of all authoritative evidence and also the cause of all kinds of satisfaction. Can you tell me something about that, Chaita?
I'm seeing how they're explaining Krishna as being most magnanimous, because he provides Vedas that assist us in sense gratification, if that's what we want, or in renunciation and devotion, if that's what we want. But the intention is up to us, what we want to do with our intelligence, with our human life. And he's so kind. He gives us information why sense gratification is not going to be a good investment. But ultimately, it's up to us. And if we want to go that route, he provides a whole elaborate path. It's all there for whatever is our desire. I mean, what could be more kind?
Oh my goodness. So what about that free will, huh? Free will. We want our free will to be linked up with his free will, because it's a big responsibility, this free will. Sometimes it becomes very confusing. And if you want to really please Krishna, find out what he wants. Right?
Sometimes we want to expedite the process and get others to choose the path of devotion. But free will, when it hits you in the face, you say, okay, I got to step back. I can't push this person. They want the sense gratification, and I have to learn detachment. Free will involves detachment.
Oh, that's freedom. Freedom.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Thank you, Mataji.
Acharya, did you want to say something?
No comment here.
The screen. Anyway, okay. All right, Chaitanya, nothing else you want to say in that area about satisfaction and free will and the Vedas personified?
Just that he's covered all the bases, no matter which
He sure has.
route you want to go. It's all there, and it all comes from him.
Right.
So at least we can be thankful for that amazing source.
Good.
We're not all ready to worship him and make him our number one, but at least we can be grateful that he's given us options.
Wow, that's kind. That's nice. Good. How about we go on and Kate read the next one?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sarata Darshini, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-45 through 46. We offer our obeisances to Lord Krishna and Lord Rama, the sons of Vasudeva, and to Lord Pradyumna and Lord Aniruddha. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the master of all the saintly devotees of Vishnu. Obeisances to you, O Lord, who manifests varieties of material and spiritual qualities. You disguise yourself with the material qualities, and yet the functioning of those same material qualities ultimately reveals your existence. You stand apart from the material qualities as a witness and can be fully known only by your devotees. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. Here, the Nagapatnis are addressing Krishna as he who manifests various material and spiritual qualities. Krishna covers himself with the screen of material nature. Therefore, he is called Gunatma Chadanaya. But Krishna can be recognized by his extraordinary quality of extreme bhakta vatsalya, by which he makes the living entities Krishna conscious. No one except Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna has this quality. Seeing the good qualities in his own devotees and not the faults, Krishna allows himself to be fully known only by them, and also that ultimately only Krishna can know himself perfectly.
Okay, I have a question. Why is it that the devotees can only be the only people who can know Krishna is the devotees? Why is that? Can you give a few words on what that is? What does that mean?
Well, this verse here is discussing his, material qualities, that he hides behind his material qualities, but that is what makes him. It's that it's that you have to have that desire to want to learn or to know Krishna. You have to have the desire. You have to have the bhakti. Has to be there. Because otherwise you're just thinking that he's this, thinking that he's his material qualities. Well, how is that?
Even before that, even before that, there's one thing that's essential. Why devotees are the only ones can understand Krishna. I'll give you a hint.
It doesn't.
Okay, go on. Tell me.
Oh no, go ahead. I'll take the hint because I was gonna just speculate.
Well, begins with an S, and it's not surrender, but it's close.
Go ahead, Sama, tell us.
Okay, submissive attitude. Submissive. We have to be submissive to Krishna. That's when Krishna will. You are my friend. You are my devotee. That's why I'm telling you this. That's what he says to Arjuna, because he's his friend, and he's submissive to Krishna. Anyone challenging cannot get this mercy. We can't challenge Krishna. We have to already understand that he's the Supreme Lord, and we have to be submissive to him. That's when he will open up and he will give us the mercy. Anything else?
Yeah, I was wondering about this, if anybody has any realizations. Swayam Bhagavan is a unique, we just read previously about how even the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, trying to get the dust of the lotus feet of Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan is the form of the Lord that's the original origin of all the other forms. Krishna's too, Bhagavan Swayam, the little cowherd boy playing like a cowherd boy, is the origin of everything, sarva karana karanam. And here it says Krishna can be recognized by his extraordinary quality of extreme bhaktivatsalya, by which he makes the living entities Krishna conscious. No one except Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna has this quality. Well, how can that be? I thought Paramatma helps us, or even Narayan, or different forms of the Lord assist in that. But here it's being described. There's some unique quality, which Chattamai mentioned, the famous 4 qualities that Swayam Bhagavan Krishna has that no one else has. But this one seems to add another, extreme bhaktivatsalya, by which he makes the living entities Krishna conscious. Any revelations from anyone on that one? Okay. Chattamai.
Nisu. Good.
Oh,
But I'll try. I'm thinking that Krishna reciprocates. If we move one step towards him, he comes towards us, and he reciprocates in the mood. There's a mood that is there, and it's not exploitative. Give us this day our daily bread. It's not that. What Krishna is looking for in his devotee is, I want to do something to please you. And then Krishna reciprocates. It's back and forth, back and forth. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you. Acharya?
I don't have an explanation or even an understanding of it, but in the prayers of the personified Vedas, one of their prayers to the Lord is that of all your qualities, your mercy on the living entities is your number one most glorious quality of all. I don't remember the exact words used, but that in that chapter of the Krishna book, that's there.
You know, can I say something about this too? These very intimate relationships that we actually have in a perverted way with each other in the material world, and the original source is to have this relationship with Krishna. And you can have that relationship of love with this person who is giving himself fully. He's giving himself as a son, as a mother, as a brother, as a lover, even as a master. That kind of loving friendship is not manifest. He doesn't manifest that so fully in any other form of God.
Nice. Ian?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because of the unique nature of the Vrindavan Leela, and I think I mean in a Bhakta Vatsala one, the person who takes care of devotees. So we see in the Vrindavan Leela that is unique in the sense that all those rasas are exhibited. So that and Krishna never leave Vrindavan. Sorry. Originally, Krishna doesn't live in that one. So as I said, those rasas are exhibited, and they say Krishna takes care of the devotees. So, so I'm thinking another reason why it is said that it's Swayam Bhagavan that those rasas are exhibited in every Vrindavan.
Good. So I think from this conversation on the topic, it appears that Bhaktivatsalya, being unique to Swayam Bhagavan, as we read here, is connected to one of those 4 qualities that he exhibits that no other form of the Lord has, and that is loving reciprocation with his devotees in such intimate things as Samapriya was saying. Mother, father, son, brother, friend, close friend, intimate conjugal lover. None of the other forms of the Lord do that quite so expansively, although they may show symptoms of it. So thank you for everyone for that. Want to go on to the next one, Sam?
Yeah, okay, go on to the next one. Tisha, would you like to read this?
Yes, Haribol. Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 16, 47 through 48. O dear Lord, in the matter of creating this cosmic manifestation, Personally, you have nothing to exert by expending your different kinds of energy, namely the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. You can create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation. As the controller of the entire time force, you can simply glance over the material energy, create this universe, and energize the different forces of material nature, which are acting differently in different creatures. No one can estimate, therefore, how your activities are going on within this world. Quote, our dear Lord, although you have expanded into the three principal deities of this universe, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, for creation, maintenance, and destruction, your appearance as Lord Vishnu is actually for the benediction of living creatures. Therefore, for those who are actually peaceful and who are aspiring after the supreme peace, worship of your peaceful appearance as Lord Vishnu is recommended.
Okay. That's the answer right there. If you want to be peaceful, worship Lord Vishnu. What about worship of Krishna? Tisha? What about worshiping Krishna? We have to worship Lord Vishnu. But what about worship of Krishna? What happens if you worship Krishna and neglect worshiping Lord Vishnu? Not that you really can do that, but what is it?
Is Vishnu and Krishna the same? I don't know.
Well, certainly everything comes from Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, right? And Vishnu is an expansion of him, right? He's an expansion. So if we worship Krishna, naturally we're worshiping Vishnu. And that's situated in pure goodness. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense to me, but why do they say it that way then?
Well, there's a lot of different devotees who have a lot of different relationships with all the millions of different expansions of the Lord. But we're being shown this intimate worship of Krishna. Hati, can you answer some of these things? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I was out for a minute. What exactly? What are you?
The question is, because on the text it says that worship of Vishnu will make one peaceful. So then I asked, what about worship of Krishna?
Well, I think they're pointing out, you see here in the text, let's go to it, where they're describing that he's actually everything. And you personally have nothing to exert, expending different kinds of energy, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. You create. So each one of those different modes corresponds to a particular state of consciousness, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness, and mode of passion. And therefore there are results. One in the mode of goodness is peaceful. One in the mode of passion is always in anxiety and distress and fruitive. And one in the mode of ignorance is intoxicated, lazy. So therefore, for those who are actually peaceful and who are aspiring after the supreme peace, worship of your peaceful appearance as Lord Vishnu is recommended. It's not, and then you're talking about Krishna. You took it to another level with that, but they're not discussing that in that particular part of the text. It doesn't appear.
Okay. But what do you think of it anyway? If you worship Krishna,
I think that the previous verse and what we were discussing was that if you want an intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord, not just being peaceful, but actually engaging in a relationship, then bhakti to him will be far more fulfilling.
Okay. Very good. Let's go on with the Krishna book. And Acharya, would you like to read?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16, text 51 through 53. O Lord, we are submitting our prayers unto you. you can appreciate that this poor serpent is going to give up his life. You know that for us women, our lives and everything are our husbands. Therefore, we are praying unto you that you kindly excuse Kalia, our husband, because if this serpent dies, then we shall be in great difficulty. Looking upon us only, please excuse this great offender. Our dear Lord, every living creature is your offspring, and you maintain everyone. This serpent is also your offspring, and you can excuse him, although he has offended. You undoubtedly, without knowing your and he has offended you undoubtedly without knowing your potency. We are praying that he may be excused this time. Our dear Lord, we are offering our loving service unto you because we are all eternal servitors of your lordship. You can order us and ask us to do whatever you please. Every living being can be relieved from all kinds of despair if he agrees to abide by your orders.
Wow. Okay, talk about that last sentence.
That's what it means, almost definition of being a devotee, that only the devotee is peaceful. And that means being agreeable to Krishna's instructions, to Krishna's desires, that if you think whatever you want, if you're wanting happiness or whatever, you understand you get that not independently, but by seeing to Krishna's happiness, seeing to Krishna's desires.
That's all we have to do is pray. How can I please you? What can I do to please you? And we have to have something in our minds at all the time, right? And we don't want this material energy. How can I please you, my Lord? Forgetting about my own desires. It's a good practice. How can I please you? I just want to act in a way that's pleasing to you. Please let me know what that is. And we get used to being a little selfless, which is the foundation of Krishna consciousness, really.
Nice.
Okay.
I also think it's interesting how the Nagapatnis have sort of come around from their original saying to Krishna, oh, just kill him and we'll be widows and do devotional service. But now not only seeing that, maybe Kalia learned its lesson, but also recognizing the practicalities of life, that they've sort of come around from that first expression.
And they recognize what were the symptoms that they recognized in him?
I can't remember exactly the Sanchari Bhavas were.
Sanchari Bhavas.
But I can't remember the particular ones that were mentioned.
Tolerant, surrendered, humble. Like that, because he was getting beaten so bad. That's what he.
That's mercy, isn't it, Pati?
Yes.
That's mercy.
Yes,
to get beaten so bad by Krishna that naturally the impurities come out of you. That's mercy. Sometimes that mercy we're not looking for, but that's what works. That's the mercy, when you know that you're getting beaten to a pulp somehow or another, and at the end of that, you feel a little clean. Actually, that's the real mercy right there. Oh, thank you. All right, we have one more slide. How about Mama Tara? Would you like to finish up for us here? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a second. Sorry. Ian, did you want to say something? Sorry, darling.
Yes, very briefly, that the Nagapatnis was reminding Krishna that every living entity is his devotee. Yes, and as you remember, Lord Brahma was saying to Krishna, well, I'm your devotee, so, you could please forgive me for my offense. I was just struck by that. You were saying every living entity is the Lord's devotee. Right. So the Nagapatnis was reminding Krishna. Kalia also was his devotee.
And after he had exhibited those symptoms that are only exhibited by devotees. Good. Thank you. Okay, let's go on. Finish up here. Mataji.
Text 51 through 53. At least once, a master should tolerate an offense committed by his child or subject. O Supreme Peaceful Soul, you should therefore forgive our foolish husband, who did not understand who you are. O Supreme Lord, please be merciful It is proper for the saintly to feel compassion for women like us. This serpent is about to give up his life. Please give us back our husband, who is our life and soul. Now, please tell us, your maidservants, what we should do. Certainly anyone who faithfully executes your order is automatically freed from all fear. Thakur's commentary. The Nagapatnis prayed, "You should tolerate the offense Kalia has committed against your devotees, after having been taught a lesson by you. However, if Kalia again harasses your devotees, you are not obliged to forgive him. Our husband Kalia is qualified for forgiveness because he is ignorant and foolish. Because of your extreme anxiety, the Nagapatnis asked Krishna twice to forgive Kalia. Krishna is addressed as Santa, peaceful, because that is the cause of forgiveness. Then take your husband. I am giving him to you, but you must follow my order." The Nagapatnis answer, "Yes, we will follow. Please give us the order."
Yeah, that is wonderful. This particular line.
There's one more sentence.
Oh,
The order is revealed in a later verse.
okay. Right here. Read this one again up here. Patti, put the blue on there. The Krishna,
on which one?
the forgiveness. He's addressed as Shanta. Go on.
Krishna is addressed as Santa, peaceful, because that is the cause of forgiveness.
God, I just love that. Can you
We
explain?
had a nice talk on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we did.
What does that mean, Manvantara?
You were talking about mercy.
No.
And the Nagapatnis is mentioning compassion and peacefulness.
Yeah, go on.
It's interesting how peacefulness is the cause of forgiveness. And I just recalled how Srila Prabhupada is always talking about cooperation, cooperating with devotees, each other, cooperating with Krishna, which is a nice way of saying, do Krishna's will. So, this cooperation is, in my opinion, another way of being peaceful, and which is the cause of forgiveness. So,
isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Actually, we see it very practically. If the mind is agitated, if you're angry with someone, if you're disturbed, if you're critical about them, it's extremely hard to forgive them. It's a false sentiment if you're really angry or disturbed with someone. But if you're peaceful, if you're satisfied, no problem.
Right.
It's a far out dynamic.
So
the Nagapatnis are kind of like influencing him by this use of this word, is what Vishwanath is pointing. They're calling him Shanta. Your Shanta means you're peaceful, therefore you have this quality and should be able to forgive him. Acharya.
Hare Krishna. Can you go back to the verse panel, please? This is something that, personally I found interesting and I think important, that where is it? At least once a master should tolerate an offense. And then in his commentary, he says, after having been taught a lesson by you, however, if Kalia again harasses your devotees, you are not obliged to forgive him. So I think this is actually a really important point about distinguishing an accidental fall down or a one-time fall down from repeated fall down, or making a mistake versus someone being like malicious or harmful in a dedicated way. And I'm also thinking how Prabhupada would sometimes criticize the abuse of the Catholic process of confession, that you commit a sin, you go and confess, but then you go and sin again and you come back and you confess again. And so I think this is actually a really important principle that, takes a lot of discretion and intelligence and consideration to apply, but a really important point.
Good for you. Very good. All right. Wonderful.
Tisha and Faye both have their
Oh,
hands
yes,
raised.
please. Tisha? And then Faye. Okay, someone speak.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Faye, you be next. I was just thinking, based on my life that's enmeshed in material stuff, that these Nagapatnis are good negotiators. They're negotiating. First, they don't care. They're saying we can be better off without him. Then they say, oh no, he's a devotee now, we need him. So then they negotiate with Krishna and they say, okay, just forgive him this one time and you're peaceful, so you should do it. So I just think they have my heart because they're negotiators.
They're good negotiators. Perfect.
That's
They're
brilliant.
wonderful. Was that? Say that?
I said that's brilliant.
It is brilliant. It's perfect. Thank you, Tisha. Faye?
Thank you, Maya. Could you put the verse back up, please? Thank you. I was going to comment on the second paragraph, the sentence that says, this serpent is about to give up his life. Please give us back our husband, who is our life and soul. If we turn this around and remember not to be asking Krishna for this kind of thing, they're very specific. They, let us have him back. Our life's going to be rough and tough. Give him back. If you had asked someone else that was a little more advanced, I don't think they would have asked that one. I think they would have been asking something a little bit differently. And if you put that screen back up again, please. You have to forgive my memory because I'm in a lot of pain, so it's hard for me to hold my thoughts. But if I look at this, suppose they had just said, Krishna, we're asking for your mercy. Do as you wish. Do as you, Krishna, wish. What happened, what's going to happen, we accept it because it's you. It's your will. We accept it. We're not smart enough to tell you, Krishna, what to do or even know what to ask. We're depending on you to be our husband. We want you to be our life and soul. We are dependent upon you. Do whatever you wish with Kalia.
It's interesting that you brought that up, Faye, because my husband also brought that up to me the other day. Remember? You were saying that.
Yes, and also, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just that you speak and explain your realization of that.
No, also, I was just going to say that Premananda also was pointing that out in a form he posted this morning.
If you could go back to the verse one more time, that same sentence. It's interesting to me that because they ask Krishna to give us back our husband, they're setting the stage for, okay, Krishna's going to give them some instructions that they must do, and with their free will, they must act upon and carry out. Suppose, his pastimes are going to unfold anyway in the way that he wants to. We're going to get the backstory on why Garuda won't go in the lake and all these kinds of things. But wouldn't the storyline have been quite different if they had taken a totally different tact and said, Krishna, let's have you for our husband. Let's concentrate on our way back home, and you in your wisdom know what to do.
Okay, right there. Just a second now. They noticed the symptoms of a devotee after the mercy of being pounded, the Sanchari Balas, right? the symptoms of a devotee were manifest. And service to a devotee, association of devotees, this is the essence of Krishna consciousness, you know. So, but, and as Acharya pointed out before, we should just be widows. Get rid of this guy. We were thinking of this, you know, he was, forget about this one. We want to just worship you, and he's in Maya. Forget about it, you know. So, but then he changed. He exhibited his devotional qualities, and anyone with any good sense will not reject someone who's a devotee,
Right.
even if a mistake is there. So that's right there. That seems to me, unless someone else has to add to it.
Tisha also has her hand raised.
Just thinking about the wives and that they are his wives, maybe there was some compassion that he was suffering, and just because he was suffering, they were asking Krishna to please spare him, you know, because he was suffering from the beating.
He was suffering, but he was suffering more before the beating, actually. Being having all that poison. He was being motivated by poison, you know. He got the mercy, and I think one of the main points of this is that he became a devotee. He is a devotee. He get all that poison underneath the poison. He's a devotee, and on that basis, they're begging for Krishna to release him. Not, okay, you pounded him enough, let him go back to his horrible ways. No. If that's not what we want to do. We want to encourage everyone to be devotee. And they saw that after this pounding, Kaliya exhibited these devotional qualities, and then they had strength for their prayer.
Yes. Manta too, it tells that their anxiety got so heightened that they actually forgot that they asked Krishna twice for mercy on them.
Twice.
They're losing their focus, is the point I was trying to make. As devotees, it's a good thing that they saw he was suffering, but they're losing in their anxiety their own focus on Krishna.
Well, I don't know that they're losing their focus on Krishna. I think that because they saw the symptoms of a devotee in Kaliya, that was heightened. Everything was heightened. What do you think, Acharya? Is that true?
Yes, I think so. I think you expressed it well. I have a separate point after Faye is done.
Okay, we just want to solve this one thing. Patsy, do you have something else to add to that whole thing?
Nope.
Faye, are you still a little bit?
I mean, I'm accepting what Vishwanath said. She's okay. I don't.
You okay? Oh, okay.
Ian.
So, Ian.
And Acharya's other point.
Yes, I remember reading where they said one of the reasons why they asked for.
I think you should wait a minute, Ian. Lower your thing. Lower it a little bit. Lower your sound, so maybe they'll come clearer.
Is it okay now? Any better?
Yes.
That was good. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I read it in one of the, I think in part of the text, that one of the reasons why they're asking about Kaliya to be given back to them, that they're saying that they don't want to be bothered again with another,
non-devotee husband.
Non-devotee husband, yes. I think that was so. That could be a part of the reason, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember reading that.
Good.
And also, as I post that I made, saying last time that he was free from anger, I think hatred and envy, those bad qualities. So I think one of the reasons I said, why didn't Krishna kill Kaliya? Was saying that he killed those bad propensities, anger, hatred, and envy.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Good.
Very nice.
Both. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Acharya had one point.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that Kaliya wasn't killed And amongst all the demons, at least in Vrindavan, I'm not, I could be wrong, but I think he's the only demon who wasn't killed outright, who was spared. So I think that's really significant on one side, because Kalia was able to, sort of take responsibility and change his ways.
Good.
And also, how important is it to have a devotee who's willing to speak up for you when you mess up,
Wow.
defend you and speak up for you also. But and like I said, I think within Vrindavan, he was the only demon who was spared instead of killed.
Yeah. And who does he remind you of in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya?
Jaga and Madai, perhaps?
Yeah, perfect. Very good. That's
Also,
it.
it's interesting.